Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'm at the opening ceremony of Frech Experience Center India and I'm in conversation with Dr. Alexander Marx, great grandson of Oscar Frech. So maybe know a few details about your family history, how we started the company?
Sure, yeah. So more than 70 years ago, 1949, Frech started as a tool maker. Oscar Frech at that time was terminating his contract at a German famous automotive supplier. Worked 2 years as a gardener and then somehow said that he wanted to use his expertise more and jumped back into die casting, into repairing die casting molds. Die casting molds at that time were in a very early stage to be needed in industrial production, and he had no facility to do so, so he used his own facility, his living house, the basement of his living house, for the first few tools to be produced there. But after already some weeks it went too small, so they built a garage in the garden, but also this after some months went too small, and so they searched for a new land where my great-grandmother Emilia had to drink several liquors with different agricultural guys in our city around to get some land to build the company there. So then we built the first manufacturing hall, which is still until today our headquarters in Schorndorf, close to Stuttgart. Yeah, and then the second generation, Wolfgang Frech, came into the company after studies as a mechanical engineer, and he had the idea of not only being a tool supplier but also being a machine supplier. So we built up the first die casting machines, zinc hot chamber die casting machines, 2 ton of lock-in force, which is quite small compared to the sizes we're discussing today with 10 and 12,000 of tons of production there. So this was the starting point for a very rapid development of the Frech company. So we became a worldwide known technology supplier for die casting machines, hot chamber die casting machines for zinc and for magnesium. But after a certain period of time, we already seen that the aluminum market is even way bigger than the zinc market. So we also established our cold chamber activities there. So machines building for the cold chamber business. But it's not only about die casting machines we really fast experience, because it's way more than just building the tool and building the die casting machine. You also need appropriate melting and dosing possibilities. You need appropriate thermoregulation in the machines. You need vacuum technology, but also need automation if you want to cover the increasing salaries all around the globe. And so step by step between 1994 and 2014, in these 20 years, the company acquired or founded several peripheral companies, which found its end beginning of last year when a famous German smelter manufacturer ZPF was bought as well. So we're now able to supply the whole supply chain from the initial melting up to the production of the die casting parts, the handling, and so on. So this is what we are today. And rounded up the portfolio by a strong after-sales service division, but also software solutions, which enables our customers to get more transparency and to get some support in their decisions how to improve their production, their daily production. So from the early product idea until the optimization of the serious production, these are our core strengths, and I would say that's quite unique compared to other companies, as we are technology open. We're possible to supply hot but also cold chamber technology, but also specific peripheral technologies or even complete solutions. This is unique, and this is one of our core strengths globally.
So right now, where all is Frech expanded? In which all countries can we feel the presence of Frech?
Well, Frech, it has to be divided in several stages or generations, I would say. So in the early 70s, it was strong internationalization in Europe, France, Italy, UK, all of these countries, which had a significant added value in the countries, coming from the car manufacturing, but also other industries. Stepwise, this volumes also moved to the Americas, where we had our second biggest subsidiary in the beginning of the 80s somewhere, and then also in a very early stage, mid of the 80s, end of the 80s, Wolfgang Frech took long trips to the Asia region, so to Hong Kong, to China, to India as well, but also the Southeast Asian market, to discover what is possible there. And already since 1987, Frech had a subsidiary in China for after sales and service for the few machines we had there producing in the field. And in the same logic, 25 years later, he also initiated together with the responsible CEO at that time to build up a subsidiary in India as well. And so in 2009, so 15 years ago, we started to explore this market here with our own subsidiary. We had our service technicians, a service technician, a representative in sales, and stepwise got a feeling about the market. But it was not really taken off in our experience. But 5 years ago, we valued and seen that there is a kind of tipping point where India is becoming a way more important industrial nation as it's been in the past. And so we decided to establish a professional managing director here, to establish a wide service capabilities in India as well, to manage all of our machines we have here in the market. India, hot chamber, but also cold chamber, so between 20 and 3,000 ton. And that's the point where we are today and where we're now discovering how to proceed.
So, since you know that in India you have a lot of competitors, what makes your product different than the others?
Well, at the end of the day, I don't want to judge our competitors. We're only focusing on our own technologies. We're experiencing the demands of our customers in the market, and then by that develop our products. And if I'm talking about our products, as I already said, it's not only about the die casting machine. It's about the complete solution we can deliver there, but also to deliver modular solutions to improve the process. And this is what makes us different to all of the other market companions which are there. Because we can deliver the complete cell, we can deliver only expertise, we can deliver just a vacuum system, we can deliver just thermoregulation, but we also can deliver just a die casting machine. And I think this is unique in that way, that the rest is focusing more on machines or even on tooling or even on peripherals, but not supplying the overall topic. And everybody who knows a little bit about die casting also knows that we only can get good results in die casting when we have a quite good cooperation in between all of these different peripherals in the process. So the combination and the interfaces between the tool concept, between the machine, between the thermoregulation, the vacuum, the melting and the automation. So only with a complete understanding for a complete die casting cell you can succeed in the mid and long term. And based on the different products we also have this expertise in the different kind of technologies. So we not only know about die casting machine, and for all of our vacuum or thermoregulating issues we are asking others. We are having it in our own group, and so we have also the expertise to be transferred to customers, to the industry in general, the die casting industry. And this is a point, and I would say one of the biggest challenges in India to also build up the knowledge in the heads of this and generally quite smart people here in India to get to know more about die casting. So to enable this potential volume of foundrymen to know how to operate a die casting process and to improve a die casting process. So it's not only about supplying the hardware, but also about to developing the people here, which will be the today's, but also the future users of our applications.
So what market growth can you see in the past 10 years?
Well, I understand the question. If you're talking about growth, you mean about product developments and innovations in the market there. So I would like to divide this into two categories. One category is about innovations of the casted products. The other category is about the innovations of the die casting technology. So innovations on the products, it can be seen that there are several applications at the moment which are produced not in the right procedure, not in the right process in our opinion. So they're produced as a sheet metal component or group, they are produced as a gravity casting, they are produced as a milling component, but if you really analyze and calculate what would be the best solution, then very often it comes to the end that die casting would be the best solution. But then you also have the big challenge that you have to transfer these kind of applications into die casting. So you have to bring your expertise about the process of die casting into the product development of the product owners, to say you have to change your geometries and your tolerances and so on at that point to enable this component for die casting. Or you could add this or another component to this group, and then you could have a functional integration there. So here we see several new applications. We have a very famous one in the sanitary business, where we successfully, together with the world market leader, or already two world market leaders, and other projects are running, transferred levers for washing tables from brass gravity casting into zinc die casting. It was a long process from 1 or 2 years, starting with the development of the part, ending at the samples, but then also installation of the serious production there. But finally they were able to significantly reduce their costs per part by this transfer of material, but also transfer of the process. So this is one crucial thing where I think there are way more potential sanitary companies in the world, in the market, which could produce beneficially if they would transfer to die casting, and we would be able to help them. So this is one topic. Another very famous development of the last 3 or 4 years, I think, is what happened in the automotive industry. So how to build up car body, so the core element of each and every vehicle. Up to now, it was more or less, you just had some stamping of sheet metal, you had some welding of sheet metal, then by that, with dozens and hundreds of robots, you received this car chassis at the end of the day. Then, in a certain point, 5 or 6 years ago, a guy without experience in die casting, without experience in car manufacturing, with a tough idea came and said, why not casting complete front and rear bodies of a car? So I'm talking about Tesla and Elon Musk. And so suddenly the complete automotive industry started to think about, okay, which kind of components could we transfer into die casting maybe? So replacing 120, 150 parts which were stamped and then welded, replacing by one shot in die casting machine. That's, in my opinion, an innovation in the way of automotive production, as it has been the assembly line of Henry T. Ford in the 1930s, where he established this sequence assembly in car manufacturing. So that's a comparable jump in the effectivity of automotive production, I would say. So these are just 2 examples of surely several innovations coming from the application, from the product side, which increased the die casting market at the moment. This is very important to have also the volumes in the future, or growing volumes in die casting in the field all around the globe. Then of course all of these ratios, kg per car or kg per component, are multiplied then with the several regions where we have more or less production volumes of cars or other components. These are the innovations on the one hand. The innovations on the other hand, coming from the production technology side, it's more about always thinking about how to improve the effectivity of our customers. If we're talking about effectivity, we're talking about a production machine which needs a certain amount of capex, a big amount of capex to be installed. Then you should try to utilize it as good as possible. So it should, in the best case, run 24/7, but for sure this is difficult. There are several factors disturbing this. But this effectivity is measured at the OEE, and this is one of the core KPIs in our internal developments as well. So we only start to develop functions when we can see a positive contribution to increase the overall equipment effectiveness. The overall equipment effectiveness as a product of the availability of machines, the performance of machines, but also the quality of the casted foundry, the casted parts. This is our red line in our developments. And there had been several innovations in the last year. So coming from activities to increase the availability of the machines. So we further developed, for example, our cold chamber technology with a new hydraulic concept, where we had 40% less of hydraulic elements and components inside, which for sure will cause less breakdowns, less unplanned breakdowns. So for sure it will increase the availability. But also on the tooling and hot chamber side, we developed certain solutions. For example, hot runner systems in zinc die casting coming from plastic injection, where it's going to be possible that we have the liquid melt from the furnace up to the front of the cavity. So we have really short cycle times, we have a way better melt quality, and also less air corrosions in the parts as well. So this has been also an enormous jump in quality, but also in cycle time in this topic, and also in the amount of cavities. So measuring the performance as a factor, as the ratio between parts per time unit or part per second, you can produce sometimes double of the cavities, but also less of the cycle time. So that's a big jump. Yeah, and these are just also two examples in cold chamber and hot chamber die casting. And also there are several more, but most important is to address the OEE of our customers.
So thank you so much and all the best for your future. I'm sure you're going to reach heights.
Thank you for the interview.